And we are back on Sportsman Radio. I'm your host, Chris Shanafelt, and I am now joined by Minnesota Vikings cornerback, Chris Carr. Chris, how's it going, man?
It's going well.
I'm sorry, what was it?
I said it's going well. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I want to start this interview off by talking a bit about your high school days at Robert McQueen High School located in Reno, Nevada, where you played defensive back, and you're actually more known for being a running back. You're a three-time All-State running back in your sophomore, junior, and senior year. Can you tell us a bit about what you had to do to be so successful at high school football?
Well, I come from a powerhouse, and I had really good coaching, and they have a tradition of winning at McQueen High School. And so when I got there, I thought I was always a good athlete, and I was a hard worker. But they really instilled in me team before self and hard work and not being complacent. Especially when you're that good in high school, it's easy to become complacent because nobody is as athletic as you are. That was the case with me growing up in Reno. But they constantly always made me work harder and so I can be the best. And so even though I was the best, they wanted me, okay, now you have to be the best ever. So if you're the best ever here, you should try to be better than anybody else in the country. And so it was this constant competition with yourself to get better that the coaches instilled in me, which made me successful at McQueen and the rest of my career. I think if I didn't go to McQueen High School, I wouldn't have had the same mental toughness going to Boise State or going to the NFL. And I'm very thankful for what all those coaches did. I'm still in contact with them to this day.
All right, and during your senior year, you were named Northern Nevada Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year as you rushed for over 1,900 yards and had 34 touchdowns. How did it feel to be recognized and given those awards?
It felt great. Growing up as an elementary school, middle school kid, you see the high school full of players, and you kind of, I'm not sure if you can ever be as good as a lot of those players. And just to know that I had one of the best seasons that anybody's ever had in Northern Nevada. We won state. And to be up there with Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson was Southern Nevada Player of the Year. And it was just, you couldn't ask for anything better, and it was just a special year.
Chris, you then went on to play college football at Boise State University. I want to ask you, what was it about Boise State that attracted you the most to go there?
Well, when I first went there, they just came off of 2 bowl games. They're in the Big West Conference, and they're about to go to the Western Athletic Conference. And just being there with the coaches, and they were talking about how they thought they were going to be top 25 pretty soon. And they were one of the few schools that wanted me to play cornerback. I played at a little free safety in high school, but I was primarily a running back in high school, and so most teams wanted me to play wide receiver because I was so good offensively. But I knew going to the next level, I thought with my quickness, with my speed, with my athleticism, I thought that cornerback was going to be my best fit. And so they had to step up in that respect because they wanted me to play cornerback. But when they said they're going to be top 25 pretty soon, and the players they had, I believed them. And so I got there, and we were 8-4 the first year, and my last 2 years there, we were top 50 in the nation, and the rest has been history of that program. And so I just think Boise State, you go there and you talk to the coaches, and you see how things are, and you believe that things are going to go that way. And they were fortunate enough to get a lot of players who believed in that, and they went there, and the rest was history.
You were awarded the Pat Fuller Memorial Award for Academic Achievements. What would you say motivated you the most to do well in your classes?
Well, in high school and when I first got to college, I always took school seriously. I knew that my mom and my family wasn't gonna let me get bad grades. But during my sophomore year, I was a political science major. I really started to like school, and I really started to get more serious about school, starting to grow up. And so, I never knew for sure if I was going to be able to make it to the NFL. And so I knew that, hey, you're an adult now, you have to take your life seriously. And so I took, after the end of my sophomore year, I really started taking school seriously. And I really started enjoying it. And so when I would study and do certain things, it wasn't really a chore like it had been in the past. And when you find something that you're interested in and you kind of grow up and you realize how important things are things besides football. It was that much easier for me to go to class and to study and to get good grades.
Okay, and after 4 years at Boise State, you entered the NFL in 2005 as an undrafted free agent. How was that like? Did you expect to be drafted?
Kind of not really. Back then, Boise State players didn't get a lot of respect. Now, Boise State players leaving early. We had 2 in the first round this season. But back then, in 2005, Boise State was just known as, well, they just have good coaching, and we're not really sure about their players, which wasn't meant, but that's the perception. Perception's reality. And of course, I got injured my senior year. The 5th game, I broke my collarbone, and I missed the rest of the season. And so I knew that was a detriment to me being drafted, and so I was just hoping to get a shot. I thought I was going to get drafted maybe 6th, 7th round or go undrafted. So it wasn't really a shock that I went undrafted. But just the biggest shock was to me when I did get into the NFL. I did start playing with the Raiders, and I realized that, hey, I was just as good as any of these guys that were drafted, and that I'm going to make this team. And so when you go undrafted initially, at first you're just like, you're not really sure if you're good enough. But once I got there, I felt like I was just as good as the 1st round pick or the 3rd round pick they had. And so I was comfortable going in. I was pretty confident I was going to make the NFL.
Right, as you said, the Oakland Raiders were the first team to give you a chance in the NFL. You mainly contributed on special teams, being a kick returner and a punt returner, and in 2006, you actually became the Raiders' all-time leader in kickoff returns with a total of 142 attempts and 3,514 yards. Coming into the NFL, did you ever think you would impact the teams as much as you did with the Raiders?
No, I mean, my mindset when I first got in the league was you're just kind of happy to be there. Especially being undrafted. I was never one of those guys going into college and with everybody thinking, oh yeah, he's going to be an NFL player one day. Nobody had that perception of me. And so once I got in the league, I was just kind of happy to be there. And I was just like, if I can be successful and do some things and play and stay in this league for a while, I'll be happy. But to contribute like that, and when I found out that I had the record, it's still probably one day I'll look back and I'll realize the significance of it. But I just kind of move on and always try to get better and get new goals and see what happens with that.
All right, Chris, on October 29th, 2006, the Oakland Raiders traveled to Pittsburgh to take on the defending Super Bowl champions, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And late in that game, you guys were leading 13-6, and Pittsburgh is near the goal line, and you make a huge play. Do you mind if I play this quick audio clip?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Chris Carr, you picked off Ben Roethlisberger and took it to the house for 100 yards, and you extended the lead at 2 touchdowns. Now, I know this was kind of a long time ago, but if possible, can you talk us through that play? How exactly did you make the play on the ball?
Yeah, I remember that vividly because after my first year, I was primarily just a comic turn. I did some nickel, but my second year, I was starting to play a little bit more. And I knew in this league that if you want longevity, you have to do more than just one thing. And you probably have to play every down. And so you have to be a defensive player if you play defense, not just special team, or you're not going to be in the league a long time. So I just remember going in that week, I was really watching film diligently, and it started to come together. I started to understand football better. I started to understand how offenses like to attack. And so I remember that they were running crossers, and I knew that once I saw a crosser coming my way, here comes another one coming the opposite direction. And so I was anticipating the throw, and I read the quarterback's eyes, and I just took off, and I intercepted the ball and took it back 100 yards. And it was one of those plays that when you're watching film, you're like, okay, this is going to come, I'm going to do this. And so it was one of those few times where you actually watch film and it happens just like you imagined it. And so that's why to this day, I mean, I'll always remember that play and the situation and the formation and everything about it.
Yeah, it was a great play. I mean, watching the clip on YouTube, I don't even see where you came from. I just see you with the ball and just you start running down the field. So definitely a great play. And last question I have for you about the Raiders, and that is, can you tell us what your relationship was like with Oakland Raiders principal owner Al Davis, who, as we know, unfortunately passed away last October?
Yeah, when I first got there, I remember Al Davis knew all my high school coaches, all their names, my teachers. He knew everything about me. And it was very surprising thinking that the owner knows everything about you, especially being an undrafted player. There's been a lot of major criticisms with Al Davis, and I think a lot of them are justified. And but as a man, I think he was a good man. I think he was an honest man. He did things his own way. I think a lot of people didn't like that. And business-wise, I think he made some decisions that people might not have liked. But I think as a man, he was a good man, and he really cared about football. And so when I would see him, we'd talk, and he'd say, "Good job, Chris." I'd say hello. He'd yell at a lot of players, but he never really yelled at me too much. So I'm thankful for that. And so whenever I saw him, it was always cordial. But I also knew that he cared enough to know everything about me, on my history before they took me up. And so that's just the type of guy he was. And this is the guy that had the first black head coach, the first Latino head coach, and has done a lot of things for minorities in the NFL. And he has done a lot of things with minorities, with the Jewish charities and African American charities. A lot of people didn't realize because he didn't publicize that. And so it is unfortunate that he's passed away. But he was a good man, and he did things his way, and you got to respect him for being his own person.
Right, and Chris, in the 2008 offseason, you became a restricted free agent, and the Tennessee Titans signed you to a 2-year, $2 million deal, and the Oakland Raiders did not match the offer. How was it for you to move to a different team for the first time in your NFL career?
Well, first of all, it was a 1-year, deal, $2 million deal. I think on the internet a lot it has it as a 2-year deal, but it was actually a 1-year deal. Right. But it was difficult at first because you go from high school, it's like you're at your high school team. You go to college, that's your college team. And so when I went to the Raiders, it was like, okay, I'm totally a Raider forever. And like when you leave, you realize this is a business, and there's no there's no definite loyalty with teams. And so when I first went to Tennessee, it was really strange. I mean, just seeing the Tennessee logo and being around players that you haven't been with, and it was very awkward at first. And so it kind of took me about half the year to kind of get comfortable with all my teammates and with all my surroundings. But it was the best thing for my career. Going there, I had a really good year returning. I was a Pro Bowl alternate that season. And I did get a chance to start a couple games when I was in Tennessee, and I played very well. And I think that set up the stage for the next chapter of my career going to Baltimore.
Right, you then signed a 2-year, this time it was a 2-year deal this time, 2-year, $5 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens, where you've seen a lot of time on the defensive side of the field due to injuries to cornerbacks Fabian Washington and Lardarius Webb. You took advantage of the time and actually became a prominent part of the defense. I have to ask you, how was it to be a part of one of the best defenses in the league that included players such as Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, and just so much talent? How was that?
It was a tremendous experience playing for Baltimore. Just everything about it. I have no negative things to say about Baltimore. Like you said, going there, I was doing returns. I played a little bit of nickel in 09, and there was a couple of injuries, so I ended up starting the last 4 games. Then 2010 came around, and I was the number 1 corner with the team. Foxworth got hurt, but I think I was going to start the whole year anyway. I had a really good season. And just, we made it to the playoffs every single year I was there. We always made it to the Super Bowl, playing with Hall of Famers, playing with people who study the game, playing with people who have no egos, playing with people who really love their teammates. It was just a special environment. They're going to be good for a lot of seasons. And we had a lot of fun there. We won a lot of games. And I learned a lot, and I grew up a lot. And they gave me the opportunity to start. And so I'm forever grateful to Ozzie Newsome, Steve Bisciotti, Chuck Pagano, Dean Tease, all these coaches and players that I was with in Baltimore. Is just a very, very special environment, and I don't have enough good things to say about the Baltimore Ravens.
In the 2010 season, like you said, you're on the field much more. You even started at cornerback for a number of games. You were used much less as a returner, but much more on defense. How did you like that change?
I loved it. I think when you first come into the league, you kind of get pigeonholed. Okay, this guy is just a special team player, or this guy is just a cornerback. You can't do anything else. And so once I had a lot of success throwing returns, everybody just kind of automatically assumed that I was just good at special teams and I couldn't play defense. And I always thought that I was just as good or better at defense than I was at returning. All the coaches that I played with knew that. My teammates knew that, but the rest of the league didn't know that. And so for the Ravens to actually give me the opportunity to show that I could do that, saved my career. Because it wasn't for that, you just can't do returns forever unless you're Devin Hester. You have to be able to do something else and show your value. And so if you can show you can do returns, you can play nickel, you can play left corner, you can play right corner, you can all do it well. You can have a lot of value and you're going to be in the league a long time. And so I used to get really frustrated because people just thought I was a returner. And so once I changed that perception, now people don't even remember that I returner a lot of times. So it's good.
Your first season with the Ravens, the 2009 season, you finished with, at the time, a career high of 44 tackles. The next season, in 2010, as we said, you've seen much more time on the field, and you set another new career record for yourself with 61 tackles. Would you say you were more successful with the Ravens than you were with any other team because they were willing to give you more time on the field?
Yes, definitely. I was very successful there. I played very well in 9, 0, 10. 2011, I was hurt the majority of the year. I didn't really play. I ended up losing my spot because of my injuries. But, yeah, I mean, it was just a special time I was there. I mean, 2010, I put that year up. If you really watch the film, every single game, I was up with everybody. I only had 2 interceptions that year, but only gave up 1 touchdown, which was on a trick play, trick play, and I think I would have had a lot more interceptions if they threw the ball my way, but they really didn't throw the ball my way a lot of times in the second half of the season. So I just think it just showed that it just was validation of everything that I thought. I always carried myself with a lot of confidence. I always knew that if I go out there and I play, and you give me a chance to start, and I get to study, and I'm healthy, and I can play, I'm going to play very well for you. And so it's just always what's the word I should say? It's always satisfying when you're as good as you think you are. And so that was like the validation of that.
And in July of 2011, the Baltimore Ravens re-signed you to a 4-year contract. And in 2011 season, you suffered some injuries which caused you to miss, I believe, 7 games and end up the season with only 19 tackles. Now, let me add this. Before the 2011 season, you had never missed a game in your NFL career. Now, shortly after the season was over, the Baltimore Ravens decided to release you from the team. Did you see that move coming?
Yes, definitely. Being in the league for a while, you understand the business of football. And I signed a new contract going into that season. I knew the only money that was guaranteed was my first season. And so after having the season I had in 2011 and not really playing and having young guys going in there and playing very well, just financially, it didn't make business sense to bring me back and have me play. And so I just thought it was time for both of us to go our separate ways. And I don't regret anything. I'm not mad at them about it. And it's kind of like coming to Minnesota is like a new start. Kind of rejuvenates you. It's a new challenge. You have to prove yourself over again. And so I'm kind of thankful that they did it. I'm always going to have fond memories of that place. But I don't miss that place, and I don't have a yearning I need to go back there. But I kind of knew it was coming, just how things went last season.
And as I said, you do not have a record of missing a lot of games. That was your first time missing any games, and you still had 3 years left on your contract. So when I heard Baltimore let you go, I gotta say I was kind of shocked. And Chris, on April 4th, 2012, you signed with a team that really struggled last season with their secondary, the Minnesota Vikings. During this offseason, the Vikings have been looking to toughen up their secondary as they drafted safety out of Notre Dame, Harrison Smith, late in the first round. They also added yourself and former Chicago Bears cornerback Zachary Bowman, and of course you guys haven't. And of course you guys already have Antoine Winfield and Chris Cook. You guys have not played any games yet, but would you say that that the Vikings secondary has improved just from last season?
It's hard to say exactly from my standpoint because I wasn't here last year, so I don't know how they performed in preseason. I think we're definitely healthier. Chris Cook got suspended last season, so he wasn't there the whole year, and Winfield was injured, and so you had a lot of injuries and you had a lot of young guys playing. I think just from watching the film and just being out there, from my perspective, it seems like we're better. It seems like we communicate better. We don't really have as much fuss. We kind of understand where we need to be, where we need to line up, and what position we need to be in to make plays. And so I think we have a chance to be very good defensively. So we'll see. I think we have all the athleticism. We have the smarts. We have a very good D-line. We have a very good linebackers. And so I just think if we continue to get better and we grow up and watch film and learn from each other and communicate well, I think we have a chance to be a very good secondary. And like I always say, it's a thin line between being good and being great, or being bad and being good. There's a thin line between that. And it's definitely not skills that limited the Minnesota Vikings last season. It's just little things, not communicating here, not knowing when your help is there. And so I think if we share those, I think we'll have a very successful season.
Right, and overall, how would you say training camp has been going for you and the Vikings team?
I think it's been going well for everybody. Even the days the defense plays very well, the offense is really not making too many mistakes, throwing too many interceptions, which is really good. I think defensively we've been playing solid. And I think I've been playing solid. I haven't been playing, making as many interceptions and pass breakups as I would like. But overall, watching the film, I'm in where I need to be. I'm not really getting beat on any plays. And I'm playing solid. It's just when you're a competitor like myself, you always think like you should have 2-3 picks every practice, in which I'm always going to think that. So I think I need to start doing things better out there. But I think I'm doing things right. I'm communicating. I know I'm playing nickel and corner, and so I know all the calls. I know the defense very well now. And so I feel confident out there. I think I've been playing solid, but as a competitor in me and knowing my expectations and my capabilities, I think I should be playing better. But it's going well. Camp, it's still early, and so hopefully I could continue to improve and get better out there and make some more plays.
I know I should have asked this earlier, or at least done my own research, but what was the injury that you suffered last season, and has that been messing with you during training camp at all?
No, I had a back injury and I had a hamstring injury last season, and I've been fine. I practice every single day, and it's been good.
All right, and just a few more questions for you, Chris, and I'll let you go. These are a few random questions. So I'll start off with growing up. Who was your favorite NFL team and player?
Growing up, San Francisco 49ers were my favorite team. Steve Young and Jerry Rice were my favorite players. And growing up in Reno, family living in the Bay Area, San Francisco was the team for me, and I just was obsessed with them, and so I used to love the 49ers.
Why do you make it important to interact with your fans?
Because when you think about the league as a whole, there's no NFL without the fans. There's no big paychecks without the fans, and so you really have to truly appreciate them. And when you go out there and you're performing, because we are performers, and it is entertainment, when you look in their eyes and you see how excited they are and you know how much joy football brings them, you have to appreciate that because they're going out there and they're looking at you and seeing what you do, and they really enjoy that. And so you should have a special feeling in your heart knowing that you're doing something that brings somebody else so much joy.
What kind of music do you listen to before a game?
I listen to some hip hop, but I listen to a lot of like bands, a lot of indie rock, type of music. So I have a wide range of music. So I could be listening to Lupe Fiasco, I could be listening to Radiohead or Arcade Fire or The National.
right, and last but not least, what is something about Chris Carr that many people do not know?
Well, many people that don't know me that just play football, I'm very into politics. I'm very into history. I'm very into music. Very into those things. And so when I am home and I'm doing things for enjoyment, 9 times out of 10 I'm not watching sports. I'm either reading or watching a movie or watching the news or a documentary or doing something in that respect.
All right, and Chris, I really appreciate your time, man. It was an honor to have you on the show. Is there anything you'd like to plug on the air for our listeners?
No, just support. Just thanks for having me. You're a good interviewer, and hopefully you get some more viewers and you get some more support.
Definitely. I'd love to have you on later on in the future. I want to thank you again for your time. Wish you the best of luck this season, which means a lot. That's coming from a Chicago Bears fan as myself, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I hope for a lot of success in the future.
All right, thank you.